This lecture is about quality management system. My name is Lars rqvist. Quality management system, that has to do with all the activities, procedures, methods that are used in an organization to deliver goods and services with the quality that we want to have. It's a way of deciding how we should do the work. It has to do a lot with standardization of working procedures, to have common way of doing important things. And of course this is something that often could be different opinions around. In some ways people often want others to do things in a certain way, while looking at our own work we want to have a freedom. We are a little bit afraid of being standardized. I think the word standardized is maybe not the best, but it's the word we often use. As an example, here I put a picture on Ericsson's boat in Volvo Ocean Race that won the competition some years ago. Do you think that those guys that was sailing this boat, when the, for instance, was in the middle of the Atlantic and it was a storm, thought it was a good idea to start to do things in a completely new way? Do you think anyone in the crew thought, oh, now I should try to do things a little bit different for fun? No, I think they was very, very satisfied that they had spent long time before the competition to do a lot of training and to in details decide how to do things in the best possible way. Of course, all the time they also focus on improvements. If they find a better way of doing things together, they change. But they have to do it in a planned way. Otherwise, it will be chaos on the boat. It's the same in the company. A successful organization have decided which areas that are of big importance for quality that has to be done in a certain way. If you go to a doctor, of course you want to do the doctor to do things in a professional way. You want the hospital to have good processes and good procedures. This is what a quality management system has to do with. It's a question of finding best practice, to support people in the work, to have good job descriptions and procedures and processes that we could lean on to understand how we should do things. But it shouldn't be done, of course, everywhere. It's a question of finding the critical areas, the things, the procedures that are of important for delivering what's important for the customers. If we start to standardize everything, of course, it will be a bureaucracy, and that is not really the meaning of this. It's also a question of involving people in those things. It's probably not possible to get someone else to tell everyone exactly what they should do in every detail. It's more a question of together founding and agreeing upon the best way of performing the work. Another important part in a quality management system is to audit those procedures and processes and so on all the time. To find out, first, are we really doing the work the way it's meant to be done? And second, could we improve it? Could we do it in a better way? Standards, and today we talk a lot about ISO 9000. ISO 9000 is a family of a couple of different standards. The most familiar is probably ISO 9001. That is the standard that companies and organizations could be certificated towards, that give them a certificate that tells that they have a certain level on their quality management system. There are similar standards for environment and IT security and so on available today too. Those standards started to develop a long time ago. It started within the US military forces that during World War II saw a lot of problems. A lot of things that was produced and delivered to military had bad quality. So they started at that time to work with quality. After World War II, in the 50s and the 60s, military standards was developed that was used in the relationship with external suppliers. They formed the US MILQ standard in the quality area. Later on, those standards also became NATO standards, and during the 1980s, they became civilian standard within England. This natural British standard became very popular because the British government decided that every company that should deliver to the governmental organization has to follow those standards. Later on, 1987, it became an international global standard that step by step have developed over time. The reason why having such a standard is, of course, in the bottom, to demonstrate that a certain company or organization have the ability to deliver what's important for the customer, to meet the needs of their customers. But it's also a question of focusing how we could be better and improve all the time, even if there's an area that usually is a little bit too bad focused in many quality management systems. One important question when talking about quality management system and standards is the view of the standard. Historically, when those standards developed and was introduced on the market, they mostly was focused on an external way. To many companies, it became important to have a certificate to mention it in marketing, to tell the customers, or even because more and more customers during the 1990s started to demand companies, suppliers to become certificated. And I think that is a view that is not very good, because too often companies made it to a goal to become certificated, not building an effective, well-working quality management system. So we got what we got. In successful organization, there is another view that is dominating, and that is the internal perspective. The need for having good working procedures, the focus on improvements, the need of a systematical way of working, and so on. And today, more and more companies are turning in that direction. Of course, it's good to have it, because it's something that we could tell our customers, and hopefully that could be positive and selling things and so on. But the major reason for working with quality management system should be internal, to become better and to create an ability to deliver what's important for our customers. Looking at a quality management system is usually a hierarchy of documented procedures. On the top we have a quality quality manual that is a description of the system in itself, that also tell us where we could find different things. Under the quality management we have usually processes. A quality management system today usually is built on the processes on the company, something that the company define by itself. Those processes are broken down in work instruction, procedures and so on that are documented. And under this there are usually a lot of different forms, reports and records and so on that is used in the operations carried out in the organization to control quality, but also to trace the quality level that we have achieved. ISO 9000 is historically often misunderstood. Many organizations think that it's some kind of templates, even if it's clearly written in the standard that is not. It's mostly up to the organization to find out what is important for us, even if too many organizations trying to find the solution to this question in the standard in itself. The organization define what's important by themselves, and ISO 9000 absolutely doesn't force an organization to do a lot of extra unnecessary work, because there are very, very few demands on specific procedures, instructions and so on. most of it is up to the organization by itself to develop and choose. ISO 9000 in itself also have a strong focus on improvements, and also points out the need of having a documented process for running improvements, things that too often had been focused too less. Connected to the quality management system, there is also a couple of other procedures and management structures. Things like the vision and the mission that explain what is this company dealing with and where are we aiming in the future. Policy goal, quality policy, an explanation from top management what this is about and what's important. Specific goals that we could measure in the quality area. The quality system that I just told you about. An organization of the quality work. We had in earlier lectures talked about the improvement organization, but of course it's also a more traditional quality organization with a quality manager and a quality department. Audits, as I mentioned, is of important. It's a systematical, independent and documented process for obtaining audit evidence and evaluating it objectively to determine the extent to which audit criteria are fulfilled according to the definition of an audit in ISO 9000. If we speak in a clear language, we continuously audit and follow up if we are doing things the way it's planned, if we are conforming to the ISO 9000, and especially if it could be improved in any ways, if it's effective as it is, or if we should do some changes. This is what a quality management system is. It's a basic framework for the quality work. It's important, but often misunderstood. Thank you for this time.